everybody, welcome to this NPTEL SWAYAM course on customer relationship management. This is Dr. Swagat Chatterjee from VGSOM IIT Kharagpur who is teaching this course. In the last 2-3 videos we are discussing about branding, customer loyalty, customer lifetime value, and I have given an idea about a case which is Rosewood, and in this particular class we will be doing a little bit of hands-on on Rosewood case to find out that whether they should go for individual branding or corporate branding. So, this particular thing has been taken from a case where the informations were collected from the different exhibits of the case, and the information were like that if you have without branding, if you do not do branding, this much was the number of unique guests, and if you do branding, but then this is the number of unique guests also. But what happens is the average daily spend is 750, it was there, and it is growing at a pace of 6%. The number of days average they stay is 2. Average gross margin per room is 32, because that is what it has been told there. But what happens is that average number of visits per year per guest goes up slowly when you do corporate branding, because they come back. There is a repeat customer that comes up, that is something. So, which is not very high, 1.2 to 1.3, and average marketing expense per guest here is 130, and here is you can see the calculation. It is basically this extra 1 million will be the cost of corporate branding. So, 1 million if it is the total cost of corporate branding, and I have 1,15,000 customers. So, the extra cost on marketing is 8.7 rupees or dollars per customer. So, that gets added, and that is growing at a 3% rate, because you have to keep on doing, as I told in a corporate branding strategy, if you have to keep on doing the branding, the marketing expenditure will go on happening. An average new visit is same. Total number of repeat customer, this goes up. So, the repeat customer, so not only the stay of the customer goes up, average number of visits of one customer goes up, but the number of repeat customers also goes up. How much? 5750 additional multi-property guests from corporate branding adds up to this. So, that is how it changes. So, what is the total number of multi-property guests? In this case, it was 5750. This becomes 10%. So, additional is how much? Another 5750, and discounting rate we have assumed to be 8%, and average retention rate also goes up by 5%. So, initially it was 16.67, it was 21.267. So, this is a con, that your marketing expenditure is going up, but the pros is the average visit is going up, the multi-property guests are going up, and your retention rate is going up. Let us see after doing this whether we will be in a positive position or in the negative position. So, the first thing is we will calculate the customer lifetime value for when there is no corporate branding. So, when I take these things as my result. So, how many number of stays? So, in the first year you acquire the customer, in year 0 you acquire the customer and you do not do anything. So, what is the cost of acquisition? The cost of new guest acquisition is 150. So, I will write 150. Next year onwards you do not acquire the customer anymore, because it is already there with you, and I assume that the customer's lifetime is 6 years. This is an assumption that I am making. Based on my idea, you can reduce or increase the customer lifetime. Then what is the annual marketing cost? The annual marketing cost, if you see here, it is written 130 and growing at a pace of 3%. So, here the first year there is no marketing cost. In year 1 there is 130 is the marketing cost, and that goes on increasing at a rate of 1.03. Okay. So, this is the cost. Now, let us come on the benefit part. How much? So, first year I am acquiring the customer. So, it is 0, no nothing here. The second year The number of nights per stay is 1.2 and number of stays per guest, no actually 2, this is 2 and this is 1.2. And what is the revenue per night? It is 750. So, what is the revenue per customer? That is basically this into this into this, that is the revenue. And what is the gross profit then? The gross profit is basically 32% margin is there. So, this comma 0.32, that is my gross profit. Now, the number of nights per stay, is it going up? No, it is not going up, nothing is written here. So, I will keep it 2 for everybody. Next question is guests visit is also remaining same. This 750 is growing up at a rate of 6%. So, that becomes 1.06 and I get this revenue. So, so these things will be same. This is basically the multiplication of these 3 terms, this is basically the multiplication of these 3 terms and so on, and each will have a 32% margin. I do not think the margin also changes, it remains same. So, 32% margin. So, this is the net money that I generate from his stay, and this is the acquisition cost, and I am at this moment I think that the referral and upsell and downsell will be same for both the type of customers. So, what will be the cash flow if retained? So, first year you are making a loss, second year onward you are making some profit, right. So, what is the probability of getting retained? Retention rate. So, first year I actually incurred this acquisition cost. So, this is 1 and then second year 1 actually year 0 I incurred the acquisition cost, year 1 they all stay with me, because that is how I will calculate. So, second year is also 1, but then third year onwards only 16.67 customers stays with me. Yes. So, this multiplied by 1667 and then I drag it. So, then what is the expected cash flow? Expectation is the number of cash flow into the probability. So, this is the expected cash flow. This becomes 0 because the probability that this guy will stay after 5th or 6th year is very low. So, practically I can remove these 2 columns. Anyways, I will keep it for now. So, what is the discount factor? The discounting factor means what will, it is 8%. So, what I will do is, I will do, this is 1.08, no this year it is 1, second year it is this into 1.08 and so on, and this value 1.08, 1.08 square, 1.08 cube and so on, this value will be divided. So, this divided by this, that is my net score. So, the net NPV is basically a sum of all these NPV. So, net present value for one customer when we do not do this calculation is $345. So, that is how we get it in this condition. Now, I have to do the same comparison. Now, if you remember, we are not talking about multi-property guests. This multi-property guest is going up because of this thing. This 1.3 is coming from there actually, because there this multi-property guest initially how much 5750 was the number of multi-property guests. This has gone up by 10%. So, total number of repeat customers is this, but these two values are not being taken into account currently in the calculation purpose. See, there was never I took this 5750, but on 19169, these two is not taken into account. Even after that, even not taken into account, whether that helps is something that I will be trying to check. So, here how much is the acquisition cost? Same 150. And what will be the marketing cost? Okay, so I will put it here. The marketing cost is, if I am not wrong, it is 138.7 growing at 3%. So, 138.7 and that grows at a 3% rate. And what will be the cost here? First 9 nothing, second 9 onwards 2 comma 1.3. So, I will just copy this. So, copy and paste, and this will be 1.3 instead of 1.2, and 750 is the expenditure. Yes, 750 is the expenditure. So, the rest of the things will remain same. So, this is my expenditure, this is my gross income, and this is my marketing expenditure. So, what is the retention? So, if I just copy these values and paste it here, just to, so that these are the values basically. This is nothing but 624 minus 0 minus 139. This is nothing but 661 minus 0 minus 143. These values are here rounded up, and this is not rounded up, that is why it is coming like this, but actually the values are I got. And what is the probability of getting retained? Instead of 61.67, this should be 21.67%. So, that improved. So, this is 21.67 squared, this is 21.67 cube, and so on. So, that gave me these values. So, which is nothing but cash flow into the probability, and so on, and the discounting factor remains same. So, this is my total NPV, and if I just calculate it, if I calculate the sum comes up to be 422. So, previously it was 345, now it is 422. The extra money that I generate is 77. So, increase in total profit is around how much? 819 into this customers. So, that is the increase, and I have not taken into account till now, I have not taken into account the repeat customers. So, I have only taken into account the average customers of all of these, but the multi-property customers probably that contributes towards that 1.3 calculation or this 21.67 calculation, that multi-property customers, but we have not taken into account that thing. So, ideally, if you understand that the corporate branding cost per year is 1 lakh and what I am getting in return is 9 lakh from one set of customers. So, even after 6 years onwards, I keep on doing this corporate branding, still I am in a good shape. So, that is something that suggests that they should go for corporate branding, not for individual branding, though there will be lots of barriers from their company that okay, I do not want to change, I will leave the job if you go for majority branding. If my boss dictates from Delhi that Great Eastern has to be run by like that and Lila Palace has to be done like that, a person who is centrally located and he is giving suggestions that how I will run my show here, then that is not right. That kind of feeling might come, but still even after that kind of feeling comes, it is better for them monetarily to go for a global branding strategy. Now, they did that actually, and these were their situation. If I just plot the occupancy rate and the ADR, just two things I will plot, the occupancy rate and ADR, just 1 minute. So, okay, so occupancy ADR we had in a ADR I will put a line chart and occupancy rate I will put a bar chart, and ADR is a secondary axis. Okay. So, you see that this is I am doing only for rosewood. You see that even after doing that, so these are what? These are basically, and if I just 1 minute. So, what I will do is I will edit the axis range just like this. Okay, it didn't come properly, probably some reason, but this is 2001, this is 2002, 2003, 4, 5, 6. If you see that 2001 to 3 we have plotted till this point, after that their ADR also went up, but still the occupancy rate went up. Occupancy rate went up to 70%, probably sometime higher than 70%, 72%. So, though they after adopting corporate branding, still they could increase the price and still their occupancy rate went up, because now the Rosewood brand become well known for the heritage sites and etc., rather than individual brands. So, they could keep their high rate of the rooms because people were willing to pay, but at the same time their occupancy rate went up, and their probably the what happened on the other hand, that their uh, number of rooms slowly came down. So, 1859 to 1704 to 1512. So, it slowly came down, and at the rate of the time it again went on increasing a little bit, but this was the good scenario. So, in ultimately what I wanted to show you is that corporate branding they did, and corporate branding worked. Even with higher ADR rate, they could have higher occupancy rate in this Rosewood, and cross multi property visits went up, cross property sales went up, the overall Rosewood branding went up. So, that is how you can use CLV calculation in your strategic decision making also. It is a very long term decision, it is not a short term decision. So, though you may make some losses in the short term, you should look for long term advantages, long term benefits, and you should focus on that. So, keeping that as the background, I will stop this video today here, and I will come back with another case and social CRM in this particular week before we go ahead for B2B and B2C customer relationship management in the next weeks. Thank you very much for being with me. I will see you in the next video.